I have missed, my interaction with a lot of you out there. Remember, this is a podcast, and I'm I'm this is an old while, and now I'm trying a lot of stuff is going on in this. Why it is they have in this country right now a real quagmire presidency. People out there who don't believe that he lost. The courts have said he lost. Appellate court, federal district courts. Well, I mean, this is not 2020, 2021. We've been doing this for years. And for the abject continuing to espouse is understand. I'm talking about people that I know are very, very, very intelligent people. These are not people who don't understand or don't understand the legal ramifications of what's going on. They understand. But for whatever reason, they're sticking their head and saying, oh, Donald Trump won. This was a lie. Please, please. This is not one of the things that these guys had done. They were they're I don't think government. Let that sink in for just a second. There was an attempt. Now, I don't know. I 20 this overthrow some of 5 months, 6 months ahead of time. Donald Trump is already saying if he doesn't win, it was stolen. Now, and then we all sat when Joe Biden was finally called the winner. about 3 or 4 days after the actual election, Philadelphia, mean, and then Donald Trump and his friends went on a mission, and nothing he did. They had over 60 cases, had over 60 cases that went to court, have the laws to counterbalance. We're gonna be like Ted Cruz and Gaten this lie. But Ted Cruz is not one of my favorite people. uh, And 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 then you got little li that he garnered when he ran around with John McCain, and he's no longer because he just keeps going on, continue talking about what's going on today and the talk of the town with Frank McNeil. Here, this is it. Talk of the Town with Frank McNeil, little Curtis Mayfield. Get down. Hey guys, I'm getting rusty. I'm trying to work the mic and new control system. So hey guys, stay with me, listen to me, and hear what I say out there. Trying to do something a little different. It's always interesting in trying to teach an old dog new tricks. So as we move forward, let's talk a little local stuff here in Springfield. Well, state of Illinois, we had election Tuesday, and the talk of the town was, statewide was State Representative Mary Flowers, who's been here almost 40 years, was defeated in Chicago in a local state representative race. And quite interesting that the speaker, uh, Chris Welch, found her an opponent and removed her basically from. And it's difficult, but I've known Mary since she came in. So I'm dating myself, but I've known Representative Flowers since she came to Springfield, and been friends with her for that length of time, and she is a handful to say the least. And she's been engaged in quite a few debates on the floor, especially in children's with the Department of Children and Family Services, and especially when there was a major issue with her and the Burke family. Uh, Former Supreme Court Justice Ann Burke and her husband Ed Burke were wanting to adopt a black child, and Mary and some others in the legislature felt that black children were better in the hands of black people. But that being said, the question becomes, where are children? Don't they need to have a wholesome home? And it shouldn't be whether it's a black or white home, but it should be a home where they are loved, they're taken care of, and they're given an opportunity to survive and to live and to thrive. And there's all kind of documentation and on these how well they do. There are a number of African American kids who were adopted by white families have done extremely well, and some that have not done so well. But the fact that somebody wants to reach out and take care of a kid, I think, is a huge undertaking and something that we should try to be mindful of. That this is not free. This is not something that is easy, and I think a lot of people ought to recognize that we have to sometimes recognize that the situations we place kids in is not a great situation, and if they were somewhere else, they could be a lot better individual when they grow up and go out into the world. So I wanted to commend Representative Flowers on her service. She's got until November. Well, she's got until January before her term is up, and so it's going to be quite interesting if she comes back and is just an opportune person that just says, "Okay, my time is up, and I'm not going to be uh, irritant to the speaker. I'm going to come back and be a good legislator and just do my job and pack my bags and get ready to retire." And that's going to be the real. A lot of people are betting that that's not going to be the case, and we're looking at. I just think it's going to be very difficult for her to come back after all these years and to know that the this is the swan song. This is the au revoir, if you want to say. I'm out of here. Adios. And to have been here for the number of years she's been here and to made the friends that she's made, because it's nobody doesn't know Mary Flowers. And I think that she's done an amazing job considering where she came from out of the south side of Chicago. She's done a lot of good, and she's been somewhat, in some people's mind, controversial. And to some of us, she's just Mary. And with all due respect, Representative Flowers, um, I'm wishing you well, and I'm wishing you well in the context that there's other things for you to do, and you can be a positive role model in wherever you go, because that's what you've been all of your life. And you just have to find another way to impact and another place to impact. And trust me, once you realize that the legislature was not end all to be all, uh, that you can do some real good in the city of Chicago when you go back home, and that you can have a positive impact on the lives of a number of people. And sometimes you may be even more impactful when you get home and begin to get involved in your community again. And not that you weren't involved in your community, but you'll be on the ground. You won't have to come to Springfield for 3, 4 days at a time. And you won't be splitting your time. You'll be at home in Chicago, and you'll be there to do what you can do to make your community better. So I want to say good luck, and move on down the road here now. There is a number of things going on in the legislature that let's talk about Delta 8, Delta 9, which is a derivative of hemp, and they are gummies that are on sale in vape shops and service stations and all kinds of places. And the thing about gummies made from the hemp, pretty much they're not regulated like gummies made from marijuana and the THC. But the gummies are as strong as those that are made from THC and the marijuana. And I think that there has been legislation introduced to regulate Delta 8, Delta 9 gummies made from hemp, and but it's not getting a lot of traction. And I think it's extremely. I can't believe law enforcement is not more involved, because a lot of kids are getting their hands on the gummies, and we don't know what really is in these things because there is no testing. There's no oversight of the hemp as it is with the marijuana. And I think I'm surprised that more parents have not been out there ringing the bell saying do something about this, because this stuff can be dangerous, and it is dangerous. And I think that at some point we need to do a little bit more, get a little bit more involved, and try to make sure that young people that are not 21, who are not of the age where they can make reasonable, good decisions, need to be taken away from that. That stuff needs to be off the market. And so those people who access this stuff are 21 years old and can make a decision for themselves. And a lot of times we know that 21-year-old don't always make good decisions, but I was 21 and I didn't make good decisions. I don't think sometimes. And thank God that I am above that age now. I try to make good decisions and try to do the best I can to. But we need to look at this. We need to look at this and make some decisions real soon before the legislature adjourns, and try to get something done about Delta 8, Delta 9, so that there is a reasonable restraint from young people getting their hands on this stuff. And thankfully, not more kids have gotten sick from this, but there have been cases of where kids have gotten sick from utilizing this stuff. So, anyway, we're going to take a little break here, and we'll be right back with you in a few minutes. And just want to play a little bit of Luther for you. Get a drink of water. Uh, do something else. Maybe even get a frosty while you're out there listening to me. And hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really happy to be back. Sort of on the airways. I miss talking to you guys out there and getting the feedback that I got. And pretty soon I'm gonna be able to get this where I can get feedback from you. I think you can type in information now, and I'll get it on my monitor somewhere. And so we're looking forward to that. If you really want to reach out to me and say, hey, we're here and we're listening to you, and let you know that somebody's out there listening. I hope. But anyway, as we move on, let's get to a little bit of local stuff. Interesting. I ran into a young man the other day over in the Capitol, Mark Ayers, who is county board, running for county board, and I've seen his signs, and I still lobby part time over in the Capitol. So Mark is a lobbyist, and we had a conversation, and he was saying that they got another a huge name recognition candidate against him, and he was saying he's just going to outwork her, and he's going to work, hit the doors, and do the thing. And I think that as a former politician, uh, hard work is something that is not being you know forced on these candidates. And I feel when you're in a race where you have the small number of constituents, there should be a lot more door to door. I use mailers, I use postcards, I did all that stuff. But man, did I walk. And man, did I knock on a lot of doors. And did I meet a lot of people, which I feel made me a better person once I knocked on the door and met somebody and just had a chance to chat with them for a couple of minutes. And you'll find out that America is still, and here in Springfield, is still a great place. There's still great people, and they just want to be acknowledged. They want to be talked to. They want to be asked their opinion. And I think sometimes people forget to do that. I think both parties, Democrat and Republican, I think this age of mass media and podcasts like myself here now have played to me a negative role, because everybody thinks that, and yes, you can reach a lot more people through the mass media, but I'm still believing that in the smaller races in the smaller races you can still knock on doors, and you can still get out there and meet people. And I think that will make a difference in a lot of these races. And the other thing was a number of races were uh, unchallenged. And on the Republican side, the Republicans have office holders, and Democrats didn't seek any candidates against them. And I don't think that's healthy in the context that it tends to allow these candidates to not have to defend. And I feel defending your office is something good. And I think that you, as an elected official, should have to defend your office. You should have to tell people what you've done and how you've made a difference in their lives. And when you have to do that, I think that's going to help a lot of people recognize the who's going to be the best candidate, who's going to do the best job for me. And so I'm looking forward to maybe some challenges. Maybe we can find some candidates before the summer's over, and before the deadline to put a candidate in the race, so that we can get out there and get some people who are interested in being in government and interested in making a difference in the lives of people, and can come out there and say, "Hey, I'm happy to put myself at risk out here, to put my life on the Rolodex of somebody, so that people can delve into your background, delve into your life." And when you open yourself up like that, a lot of people have a lot more respect for you and will possibly vote for you. But it's just a thing that I believe that we have the opportunity to have a more cohesive community. And I think challenges to those incumbents is not bad, but it says that if these incumbents are the people that the people, you can get out there and make them understand that you may be the better candidate, and they say, "Hey, you've been here long enough, and maybe, just maybe, you can win this race." So I've oh my goodness, I got a couple of comments from people who are who are paying attention to me this evening. And so oh my goodness, my one of my old third floor classmates from college, Sam King, my buddy from Charlotte, North Carolina, has popped in on my face screen here. And I said, "Oh, my goodness. Sam, I'm glad you're listening. And I'm sorry about your friend, Steve." And then I have another young lady, Miss Marky Freeman. Marky, I didn't know you were in town, or where are you? But if you're hearing me, I'm glad you're here, listening to me, and looking forward to working with you again with Max Out. And what a wonderful job Marky is doing with the young people around the city of Springfield and all over the country. And Marky, I'm really jealous of your travel schedule. You're really going some places I want to go that I haven't been. And so, too, I'm happy to have that people are listening to me and paying attention. And I'm going to get better at this. This is my first night, on the air, and I'm trying to, get out here and make a difference in this thing, and hope people, you know, can help me make myself better at this because I'm a little sketchy. I did radio, but I didn't have any facial. I got a screen in front of me now. I'm looking at myself talk, and I'm trying to work between the music. I got two computers here that I'm working on, and you know, uh, yes, I'm getting a little gray in the beard, so I'm not as adept at these things and that I should be. But look, people, I am having a great time, and hopefully you listening. We can have some conversations. Send me if you're on Facebook, you can write me a little note, and I can acknowledge you. And if you got a question you want to ask, put it out there. And you might not get the answer you want, but I surely try to answer your question, and we could have a good conversation. You write your question, I'll respond, and we can have that kind of conversation until I get upgraded to where we can conversate. And I know there's a medium where we can do that, but right now I'm just on the beginning cutting edge of podcasting. And at some point, we're going to have a possibility of you having an interactive conversation. So I am really happy to be here tonight, and this is my what you call the maiden voyage here. So I'm cruising out here on a limb, and I'm trying to give you a little bit. And I got some more things I've got to add to my podcast to make it better. And I'm recruiting all podcasters who want to come over and say, "Hey, you can do this, and show me how to do it." I'm all open for technical assistance. So those of you who have done this, Ray Lytle, my buddy from over at a radio station we both used to work for, Ray, I know you do a great podcast in the morning. So if you want to offer some technical assistance on how you do it, because I see the morning disaster on occasion. I hear you crash things up over there. And so I just want to, and then I see some of the podcasts on, of course, television, YouTube, and I pick up on some every now and then. And when we come back, I'm going to take another little pause here for the cause and get a drink of water and let you listen to a little music. And when I come back, we are going to talk about a young lady up in Dolton, Dolto, Dalton, Illinois, the mayor, Tiffany Henyard. And if you haven't followed that one, go on YouTube and type in Tiffany Henyard, Dalton, Illinois. And oh my God, it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable what's going on up in Dalton. But hey, all I can do is say, I'm so glad it's not Springfield. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a little break here, and we're going to come back and talk to you a little bit more in the next few minutes. Well, we back with Talk of the Town with Frank McNeil, and man, I tell you, I'm having some fun here, and I'm trying to get used to my setup. And this is my first time doing a podcast, and I'm here with my good friend Stevie Wonder. How I call him. He's the master of ceremonies in here. He's helping me through this first voyage I'm taking here. And my good friend Alderman Gregory has reached out to me, and oh my goodness, I didn't know you were listening. Where are you anyway? You supposed to be out knocking on doors somewhere. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope there's Steve. He's I'm in the studio with Steve, and he's giving me some lighting to make me look better. I don't know if I look any better, but you can see me better. And so we're here, and this has been a journey that I've been trying to get done for about 7-8 months now. As you know, I used to be a radio host here in Springfield for a number of years, and we had to part ways, and not amicably, by the way. And now I'm doing this in response to a number of people who asks me, "What are you doing? You're not on the radio anymore. What are you doing?" Well, I have a life, but I do miss the interaction with the people, and I'm getting some feedback from some of my friends. Good old friend back from my college, HBCU, NCCU, the Eagle Pride. Euless, glad to hear from you, man. Hopefully, you're doing well. And and Sam, of course, Sam King is one of my favorite guys from the third floor of Chidley Hall. And man, seems like yesterday. And Euless and Sam, and Sam, don't call Rico, please, please. I don't want to hear from him. Let him stay in Durham, North Carolina, and just be sit with his wife and be quiet, because he's going to start something as soon as he finds out. So, so anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I went to school in North Carolina, Central in Durham, North Carolina, originally from High Point, North Carolina, the home of John Coltrane, and we Durham, North Carolina. And for those of you who saw the Bull Durham, I used to drive by that stadium, and it was, I played a little baseball back in the day, and Durham Bull Stadium was not a great place. They have an outstanding stadium down in Durham, but Durham, North Carolina, home of North Carolina Central University and the home of the Eagles, and a lot of good people I met there, and started my life off in a positive way. And it is it's something that you just feel good about. The people that I met there, and as you know, I graduated a number of years ago, and so I don't want to talk about the 50th anniversary we had about 2 years ago, and still good with great people, doing some great things all over this country, and we have people in all corners of the earth, and they're doing some great things. And so, for those of you who haven't had an HBCU experience, it is something that you need to really look at now. And with with affirmative action being ruled that is no longer apropos, if you want to say. The reason I there are HBCUs is because of state sanctioned segregation. And I think sometimes we forget why we were in the situation that we had HBCUs. And I just, I wonder if there is an opportunity to educate people because we didn't choose, African Americans didn't choose this. They were forced into this. And Dr. James E. Shepard, who was the founder of North Carolina Central University, made a case at the state legislature, and it's worth reading for if those of you who want to. You should go read his speech to the North Carolina General Assembly when he made the pitch for North Carolina Central University, and the fact that he talked about that in order to have a civil society, you have to educate people. You have to provide the fundamentals of education so that they could go forward. And the local, predominantly white universities would not allow African Americans to attend. And so these were now developed to academically train and educate African Americans. And now we are under assault to some degree from some people saying it's not necessary. And sometimes funds have been cut back as a result of this. And, funds have been cut back for these institutions, but a lot of our top flight people around the world, their beginnings were at HBCUs. Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States. We can go down the list of people who are at HBCUs and are doing great things. James Clyburn, South Carolina State. We can go down. My good friend George Butterfield, who just retired from Congress, one of my classmates. We can go on and on all over this country from Virginia, Bobby Scott, who I knew, a congressman for years. And, we have people in state legislatures and some even in Congress that have finished these HBCUs and are doing great things. And we do more than sports, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. We have made a impact in government, science, and industry all over this country. Reggie Lewis, who created Beatrice Industries of Virginia Union University. We are some people who have pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. These schools were not the greatest places, not the greatest facilities all the time, but there was something there that made us all, the understanding of the teachers, the regimen. We had some tough teachers, and they made us understand who we were and what was expected of us. And every day, it was a situation where you had to be cognizant of the fact that everything was not so much a struggle, but it was hard work, and you knew you had to work to get where you wanted to go. And nobody said, "Oh, woe be unto you, woe be unto me that you had to work hard." That was not a part of it. That was expected of you. And people like me who came from not a great background, a very solid background because I had two loving parents who didn't have a lot of money, but they showed me direction and they gave me a lot of love and they gave me a lot of dusting ups when I got out of line. And I appreciate that now. And that was the point of life for us. And they stretch education. And my father and mother both used to say, get a good education so that you don't have to do the kind of jobs I have to do. Get a good education so that you can, achieve more than we did in life. That was what we were taught. And it wasn't this racist, I don't know, animosity that is now very prevalent out here. Our job was to work hard, get out there, get an education, work hard, get a decent job or build your business or whatever, and be a good citizen. Go to church, do the right thing, have a family, raise your children, just like everybody else. We want to live in a nice neighborhood. We believe in supporting police. Grew up in a family where police was not somebody we hated. You gave respect and you were taught respect. But sometimes I think, in this litigious world where a lot of people are out here speaking bad of the police make their own record. And I am supportive of the police, but I'm also going to be the first to say if they violate the law, they violate their oath of office, they should be held accountable like anybody else. If I get out of line, I do something wrong, I break the law, I should be held accountable. Plain and simple. And when it appears that when you try to hold sometimes police accountable for their actions, you hate the police. No, we don't hate the police. We hate police who act out of order, who violate their oath of office, and who use excessive force to enforce the law when it's not necessary. So that's where we stand right now. So let me take another little break and get my breath here so that we can continue this conversation. Listening to you out there. Well, hopefully, I get a few more comments. I've got several here, and I'm going to try to respond to them. I'm learning how to do that as well. I got a screen, and I don't type well, by the way. And so by the time I can get these keys to work and type some responses back to some of the people who are watching and listening, so appreciative that you're taking the time out of your schedules. And hopefully we can continue this conversation. And I'm going to try to be here uh, every Friday evening. Every Saturday evening, so that we can have this is as we call it, the dead time of the day around 5 or 6 in the afternoon. And, we're going to go forward and you can hear, you can sit back and listen to some music and have a frosty, watch TV. And, back in the day, we used to turn the TV down and listen to music. And so now you can turn the TV down and listen to me and listen to a little music and enjoy yourself and just sit around the house and say, hey, I'm having a good time today. And this is what we're going to try to do. So I'm going to try to get a little music here. I'm still learning my situation here on this computer and this setup here I've got. So I am going to try to do the best I can so that you guys can say, hey, that wasn't a bad show, Frank. So that's where we are, and we're going to see how it works out. So I'll be back in a few minutes here, and so we're looking forward to hearing you. I'm learning.
We're at Picture Perfect Studios. Thank you for joining us at Talk of the Town, here with Frank McNeil. And this is here, your boy, Stevie J. He called me Stevie Wonder. Hee hee. It's
18. 18. Mm-hmm. 6 people. Good evening, and I'm back at it and ready to go and ready to talk a little bit more to my friends out there. And hopefully, you guys are enjoying the show. I'm enjoying doing this. I'm going to get better at the functionality here of what I'm doing, and I'm going to make it a little more seamless, if I can say that. It'll be seamless so that you can I can have the transition from music to back to talk. And we sometimes don't understand that this is highly technical. It's easy, but I'm one of those persons. I've never been very good with technology, and I'm learning more about technology as I get older. Yeah. And so, as soon as I get it down, you guys are gonna really say, "Man, this he really picked up fast on that." So now, as we move down, and I just can't help but talk about the case down in Atlanta, Georgia, with Fonnie Willis and Nathan Wade, the two prosecutors who were having an affair, and the attorneys, one of the defendants, said that there was a uh, some collusion that she had hired Nathan Wade uh, to benefit. And after, and I listened to a large part of those arguments by the defense. Uh, and basically, what they did was expose Fonnie Willis and her boyfriend for a relationship. Now, clearly, it was not in good taste. It was probably, uh, how should I say it? It was not good. It was not a good look. Uh, there it may be subject to some ethical concerns, but to say that their relationship put the prosecution of the criminals, now, well, let me say the people who are indicted for trying to steal the election, and to say there was a conflict. The judge has already ruled, so I can say clearly that it was nothing but garbage. You sullied up Fonnie Willis and her boyfriend. You made them look pretty bad in the public's eye but it was you made a relationship of a man and a woman. Both of them he was in a divorce, going through a divorce, and she had already been divorced. Two consenting adults. Only thing, they just happened to work together. And But to say that that was going to impact and that she was paying him in order so he could kick back to her, absolutely presented no evidence, not one scintilla of evidence that there was anything. And it was so funny when Fonnie Willis's father testified, and those of you, especially my dad, up until his death, up until my dad's death, up until before he was put into assisted living, and that my dad hid money in the house. He had money hidden in his old trunk. Now you might not be able to find it, but he had money in the trunk. My dad was a person that lived through the depression in the 30s, and he never trusted banks. I mean, he had money in the bank, of course, but he remembers the pictures in his mind of how people were killing themselves and jumping off buildings because when the banks went up in smoke in 1930s, uh, he said, "It'll never happen to me, and I'm going to make sure I keep money in the house." And so Fonnie Willis's father, who was an attorney, is an attorney himself, uh, taught her that she should always keep money, cash money. And as an independent woman, I think it was okay for her to have her own money and want to pay for things. And what's wrong with that? Did they do anything wrong because they had a relationship? The only thing was different was that they were prosecuting the Don, and and people are talking about here's a guy that's been convicted of assault, sexual assault. Donald Trump, the former president, has been convicted, and yet and still nobody seems to care that he's just a great guy. He can get up on stage and lie for days, and it's okay. But the integrity of Fonnie Willis and Nathan Wade was put at risk because they had a loving relationship. Not one thing that they proved during the course of this case, not one thing that they proved that was a conflict of interest that was going to impact the outcome of this case. And the judge ruled. And he talked about them, which I thought he went a little bit far in his statements after the case, because his job was to rule whether there was a conflict. There was no conflict. And he said there was no conflict. There was no evidence of a conflict. But he chastised Fonnie Willis for her actions, which is not the role of the court. So I am just sitting here laughing in the context of not trying not trying to look at Judge Eileen Cannon down in Florida. If somebody wanted to look at someone who say, are they playing by the rules? I mean, clearly, let me get on Eileen Cannon for just a second here. Judge Eileen Cannon. It is clear that she's in way over her head. It is clear if you go back to her being appointed a judge, if you look at her background and experience, you know that she is not ready for prime time. And what's his name? John Kennedy from Louisiana, who seems to be the judge whisperer, and he's all. Where was he when she was appointed? Because she's a Republican, he didn't have much to say, did he? But any Democrat judge comes down the pike, John Kennedy with his Rhodes Scholarship and all, oh, he has some great things to say, and he questions the end. But he didn't have much to say about Eileen Cannon. He didn't have much to say about her lack of experience. He didn't have much to say about her fact that she didn't have the requisite qualifications for a judge. The 11th Circuit, conservative as you can get, has basically had to slap her down 2 or 3 times because she's made absolute major errors in what she's doing. And I think that Jack Smith is waiting for the opportune time, because I think he's going to finally go to the 11th Circuit and say, get her out of here, and going to ask for her to be recused, because clearly she's way in over her head. And some of the things that she's asked for are not necessary. She's and if the judicial protocol that she's following, even some of the people that are staunch conservatives know that the ruling. Ty Cobb, former White House counsel to Donald Trump, basically just roasted her yesterday about the things that she's done. And it is just amazing that you can't get Marco Rubio, Rick Scott, any of those people. I mean, they've just disappeared. It's like the United States Senate of Republicans have disappeared off the face of the earth. It's like the only person you hear from is Mitch McConnell and Lyon Lindsay, and who else is it? Ted. What is it? Cancun Ted. And that's the only people you hear from. It's just unbelievable. Not one of them questions what's going on in the United States of America in the judicial process, other than trying to figure out a way that they can come out and support Donald Trump. And it's okay if they want to support Donald Trump, but they have an elected responsibility to be fair and to be impartial. And it seems like that is that's going under the waterfront somewhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna take another little break here, but just really enjoying talking to you, and I'm getting a little bit better at maneuvering through my things that I got to maneuver through to get to my music and do all this other stuff. But hey, I'm trying, and I'm making forth the best effort I can so I can make this a good show for you guys so that you'll enjoy it. All right, taking a break. All right. Yeah, I'm playing old school music. Excuse me. And I got a post here from my old freshman roommate, brother Paul Pope, down in Charlotte, North Carolina. Paul, glad to hear from you, man. And hopefully you're doing well. I hope you took a good walk today and you got to see some good things. And James Chapel, James, good to hear from you, man. I'm trying to do my best to make this a good show, and it's give me a give me a couple of more shows, and it'll be just seamless like I used to be on the radio, so you guys can enjoy what I'm doing here, and you can I'll have it set up so I can respond to you a little bit faster. But I'm just so happy that some of the people that I'm reaching Charlotte, North Carolina. I've got a couple of other ones here. I think Euless is up in New Jersey. So, man, the media and the podcast is something that I wanted to do. I look at some of the podcasts. I see some of the big time podcasters, and I'm not going to be a big time podcaster, but I hope to get people to listen because sometimes I think having someone you can reach out and touch makes a difference in how you listen, and what I say carries a little bit of different because I'm not one of those big time millionaires. I'm just a regular guy like you guys out here, grunt that works every day and just wants to share some of my mind thoughts, and hopefully you can respond and and say, "Hey, Frank, I don't agree with you, but like I always used to say on the radio, we can have a conversation. We don't have to agree." And see, this is one of the things that I say. People think you have to agree with everybody. I don't think you have to agree with me, but you got to respect my opinion, and I'll respect yours. Now, when your opinion is without merit and it's no foundation and it's and then I'm going to try to explain to you why your position is bad. I'm going to try to explain to you why your position has no merit. And my dad used to say, some people will argue with a stop sign, son, so you need to let them go. EJ, my young man, my son out in the great Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm glad you listened, son. I hope you're enjoying it. And I'm looking forward to coming out, spending a couple of days out in Vegas. I've never been there, so I it. I don't gamble. I grew up. I mean, not like that. Of course, we used to throw pennies and all kind of stuff like that, but hardcore gambling never did, and it doesn't excite me. But and by the way, I miss playing the lottery tonight. So whoever wins the big prize, tell them to remember me. But oh man. But anyway, I'm just happy to have this. But no, let's talk about the state of the affairs of our country where we can't even have conversations and people don't even accept, a flashing light truth, and they just turn their heads. It's like they don't, they can't accept it. And I look at, unfortunately, it's one congresswoman who has just made herself, the class dunce. I mean, this woman is, she says things that now she's filed a motion to remove Mike Johnson as the Speaker of the House because Mike Johnson dared to put on the floor the appropriations bill to keep the government from shutting down. I mean, he has to do his job. He has to do what he was elected to do. And for those people down in Forsyth, Georgia, and where Marjorie Taylor Greene, you got to look yourself in the mirror and ask, is she what has she done that makes my life better? What has she done to make the community better? What has she done to make America better? I mean, she's some people would say she's an attention seeker, which I have to agree. And it's just like excuse me, uh, former Congressman Rodney Davis, and I knew Congressman Davis personally, and I didn't agree with Congressman Davis, but Congressman Davis did bring things back to Central Illinois. For whatever reason, however it happened, I'm on Mary Miller's, Congressman Mary Miller's mailing list. And all I get from her is when something happens is Mary Miller says, this shouldn't happen. I'm willing to ask those constituents who voted for Mary Miller and not Rodney Davis, are you getting what you bought? Is this what you really bargained for? Like Rodney or dislike him, Rodney brought projects back to Central Illinois, and they were impactful in his communities. I know this personally. I did not vote for Rodney. I did not support Rodney, but Rodney Davis was a reasonably sound congressman. He he wasn't the special guy of mine, but when he did the good things that he did for Central Illinois, you have to say, hey, that guy's doing his job. He's not doing it for me or you, but he's doing what's good for his community. I'm still trying to figure out. And those people down in Mary's district, she's voted against absolutely everything. So, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, are you going to, what should I say? Claim when you voted against the $9+ million worth of projects she got in her district, and she voted against each one of them. And then she goes out and cheers and toots her horn that she did something. She voted against it. And people ought to be cognizant and ought to be aware of what your congressman is doing enough that you say, what have you done for me? If it wasn't for somebody else, we wouldn't get these projects. These are job creating projects in the districts. For the companies in her district are selling products. There are men and women who are getting jobs because of this. Same with Mary Miller. And they take and they vote against these things. And I'm trying to figure out that at some point, when will we get back to governing? When will the United States Congress get back to governing? We're supposed to be better than this. Nikki Brzezinski, Congressman woman, you're doing a great job. She's put some money back in our community. She's trying to work with the other side, and it's very difficult to work with Mary Miller. I can absolutely understand why you might not be working with Mary Miller, because it's just very difficult. And I'm not sure that she wants to be worked with. And I don't know. I just think that at some point, at some time, we're going to have an opportunity to look out there and see people for people and not for what we care about. as for not what we care about as partisans, but as people. And I am a partisan. I've been partisan. There's nothing wrong with being partisan, but sometimes you have to put your partisanship aside for the best interests of your community, your country, and the people you represent. Plain and simple. That's what you're there for. All right, taking a little break here and gonna give you a little bit more music and we're gonna come back to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming back at you and got another listener, watcher out there, Dottie and Willie. Hey, guys, I'm happy you tuned in and I'm going to try to make this my Saturday afternoon delight, if you want to say, so that you guys can sit back and listen. These Dottie and Willie used to listen to my radio show religiously every day, and I told them I was going to be doing something like this, and so hopefully they'll be listeners again. So I'm getting ready to cash in my chips for the evening and go back and watch some basketball now, so that I'll have something to talk about next week when we'll get closer to the Final Four. And man, that women, I was watching women's basketball last night. And how many of you are enamored by the just the tenacity of the women basketball players? They are some good games. The women are playing basketball, and to see some of the women and the shots they are making, the threes they're shooting, and the physicality. Oh my goodness! I mean, some of the women's games are more physical than the men, and it is. I think that one, women ought to be given a bigger role in the NCAA. I think that the WNBA, which I watch on occasion, uh, they should we should get a little bit better out of there. We they should do a little bit better. Uh, and Ray Lytle, yeah, women's ball has been great, and I watched. I was watching Norfolk State, of course, HBCU. They won the MEAC Mid Eastern Athletic Conference, and they were playing Stanford last night. And the first half was fairly competitive. And clearly, Norfolk State in Norfolk, Virginia, doesn't have the capacity and the money that they load into Stanford. But they were giving them a good run for their money in the first half. Clearly, they weren't successful, but man, it was a good game. And I'm just wondering, waiting to see if we're going to see uh, Iowa State and South Carolina in the championship. And don't call me. I don't want to hear from you because I want to see that game because the coach, Don Staley, and Caitlin, what's her name, from Iowa State, that should be a barn burner. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I get ready to cash in for the night, I really appreciate for those of you who took the time to listen and to comment. I'm appreciative. I'm hopefully my show will be a little bit smoother and better the next time. I'll be a little bit more focused so that we can Caitlin Clark. Thanks, Ray. And it's going to be great to see this game, the finals of the women, just like the finals of the men. It's going to be a great thing to see these people, uh, see these young ladies go out and compete. And I just am looking forward to it. And I am going to cash out of here tonight. You guys, I appreciate you. And I'm an old rock fan back in the days, and I have one from Jimi Hendrix, and we're gonna leave you with this.